So, guys, I want to review AEW, and I'm at the UBS Arena, which is really, really awesome. Unfortunately, I have to leave at 9:45 and go to work, and there's no problem with that because, I've taken 2 weeks off for vacation. That's how life goes. You have to give and take. You take too much, you get taken out. That's just how a job is. So, I do want to say a couple of things. That, first of all, there was really no progression in AEW, and we see that a lot in WWE and other companies where they're just having matches just to have matches. I do think that I really liked a lot of the matches that they have. I really liked Riho and Jamie Hayter as a match. They were doing a lot of cool moves. We got to see a little bit more of Riho's offense, and it's also good that we're seeing Riho fight opponents that are of her size. So we're not seeing, a really, really skinny person fighting, a 300-pound person that's massively large. And I know people bring up the Rey Mysterio and Big Show argument, and I totally agree with that, even though some people say, well, they're better characters, so therefore the character that they are distracts you from, the lack of physics. The next thing that I would say is that there was a Jon Moxley, Daniel Bryan, and Claudio Castagnoli. They beat a bunch of jobbers, and then they hit Adam Page with a screwdriver. And again, if they do the Elite versus the Blackpool Combat Club, and it's going in that direction, I'm totally okay with that. That would be a great match. But get to the point. But definitely I want to see the Blackpool Combat Club hold the Trios Championship. And I think they're really setting that up. So I'm happy because otherwise it becomes Team Rocket. And I'm going to use that as a term. It becomes like Team Rocket. Because in Team Rocket, because with Team Rocket, and when you watch Pokemon, what happens? They either always lose or they're never, ever accomplishing their goal. So there's no sense of progression. So I think that that's going to be set up. And I also like how they're setting up Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, Darby Allin, and MJF. Even though this is an MJF town and people were booing, Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, who's supposed to be the baby face, and Darby Allin, but especially Jungle Boy, who's supposed to be the baby face. I really like how nowadays, people can boo whoever they want to boo. And I thank John Cena for that because it adds to a level of realism. In the 1980s, people were booing Hulk Hogan. So even though you try to set up somebody as a babyface, sometimes people will cheer for Andre the Giant and boo Hulk Hogan. So it adds a level of realism. So I like that. But I do think that people just like MJF because he's a hometown guy. And then also people just like people who are real. Why do you think Donald Trump won the election? Because we all just know that politics are fake and people just try to work things so fake people are successful. And that's kind of why you run into those issues. I do think that another thing that I want to say is that, I'm trying to figure out how to get out of here. But I do want to also say that I really think that I do like that they're going to have a 4-way match, a double or nothing. I really think that's the direction that they're going to go in. I don't think that they've not announced it, but I think that's the direction that they're going to go in. The next thing that I have to say is that, there was Switchblade Jay White. Again, I'm happy that they have New Japan Pro Wrestling people, but it does feel like what we see. It's like WCW2, TNA Wrestling, when they kind of feature AAA people and New Japan Pro Wrestling people. You run into that same issue of featuring a lot of people, and then it's like, well, a couple months from now, they lose their luster because it's like, what do you do? What do you do when you have almost 200 people on your roster and you're putting in more people? You put up Nigel McGuinness now, and then now you're having Switchblade Jay White. So you're going to have them be a super faction type of thing. But again, Tony Khan's proven time and time again, he can't handle big rosters. Like, honestly, he would have to, and I said this, he has to destroy Rampage, get rid of Rampage, and then just have 2-hour AEW, 2-hour Ring of Honor. That's what he needs to do. And he really needs to kind of, even do something like, if you have the ROH title, there has to be a pay-per-view like Destination X, where it's like you can give up the title and then you can fight the concurrent champion of AEW. That's what he should do. And that's kind of how to use the roster. And ultimately, if there are people that he's not using, he has to do 100%. Just be like, you know what, I've not used you in a year or whatever. Sunny Kiss. I used you one time in a year, Sunny Kiss, in 500 days. You can't, we can't have you. But otherwise, I would say it's a really, really good show. I do have to wrap this up. I do think that, I want them to keep moving forward. Definitely not an all-star show, but it's good enough. And then, unfortunately, there is a show in Rhode Island where it was called Battle of the Belts. So I assume it's going to be championship matches, but I've seen but it's terrible because I've seen no promotions for that. You're having a belt show and there's no promotion. And even if it's a house show or whatever, you have to have at least 1 or 2 title switches. So I think what they're going to do with FTR versus the Gun Club is they're going to have FTR win, hold the titles, give them back to the Gun Club. But it's just not good, because if you're going to have a house show, you need to make sure people win titles, because otherwise it's almost like, well, we have 8 or 9 titles and everybody loses. So, it's not realistic. So, in a couple of weeks, they have a Baltimore show for AEW, and I'm excited to go to motherfucking Baltimore. And I'm not sure what's going to happen between the Ass Boys and the Gun Club. Unfortunately, between the Ass Boys and FDR, I had to walk out because I have to go to fucking work, and that's just how life is, But what I do have to say is that I do think that FTR is going to win. I'm happy that they have a match that everybody likes. Everybody likes FDR, so that is what it is, So it was all right. It was a good show. I think it was a 4 out of 10, but 10 being a legendary type of show. So 4 out of 10 isn't that bad. And there's somebody, with a very loud car in the background. But that's all I got to say, So, nice show. I'm happy that I went. Getting back from Alaska a few days ago. And, this ticket cost me $150, like $103. Plus transportation, $150. Do I feel like I got my money's worth? Yes, because, this is just an average show. It wasn't built up as this legendary type of thing. It wasn't built up as a pay-per-view or whatever. So, it's just an average show. I do think that in the future, I probably would have not gone tonight because it's a lot of money and it's hard to get time off of work. So it's more hassle than fun. But all right, that's all I got to say. So, I'm happy with the results, but I don't think it was worth me going down. I could have easily missed this one if I knew what I was going to get. The other thing that I have to mention about tonight was the MJF segment. Honestly, that was the best segment of the night. And it's just because, when you work with a character like MJF, he knows how to kind of amp up the audience, whether he's a heel or whether he's a babyface. And I actually like him more than wrestlers like John Cena, where part of John Cena's aura is that WWE kind of builds him up, where you kind of see MJF be a more natural type of, well, I can hype up people because I know how to hype up people, like The Rock or other ones like that, or even like The Undertaker. But, he does have a lot of potential. And I also like him doing sing-alongs and stuff like that, because you're also showing that he's multi-talented. And then I also like that he's in Rhode Island, so it makes sense for him to do a babyface thing, even though he is a douchebag character. And it's good, because it's just like what you see in good movies, is that you have a character that's dimensional and all that. So, I'm happy that MJF, did what he did. And it was just funny just seeing, how he got trashed at the end. And then again, I also like AEW, because even though people were booing Jungle Boy and whatever, they're still kind of going with whatever they want to do. And I also think that even on the live show, whatever, they're not going to, cut the audio like they do in WWE and make everybody cheer Jungle Boy in the audio, in the post-production audio. They go off of, what the reaction is. So, again, what MJF did was really awesome, and it was a lot of fun. And then also too, I really liked the Acclaimed with the Jericho Appreciation Society. I do think that's going to be a great feud. But like I said, anything with Jericho Appreciation Society, it should be until the upcoming pay-per-view or the next pay-per-view. But also they need to start doing something where they have to put the Jericho Appreciation Society against the tag team champions and against the the trios championship, because again, like I said, they're almost like Team Rocket in the sense that they're a faction with no progression and always lose when they're supposed to. But there's definitely levels of improvement, so I'm happy to add that part to my video.